The teams are ready to go.
Agents are go.
Welcome to RPG Book Club LongCast, a podcast where we play a little bit of a lot of video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
Or we play a lot of a video game, but it doesn't take very long to talk about. I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
Yes, and today we'll be discussing just Chapter 10 with a smidge of Chapter 11 of Final Fantasy XIII. Not a lot happens, but we played for like 6 freaking hours this week.
Yeah, Chapter 10, you do a lot of fighting and walking down hallways.
Yeah. And like there are alternate routes. This is the first like actual dungeon. Mm-hmm. Like you can do different things as you make your way through.
Oh yeah, you're right, you can. Yeah, there's a lot of these big rooms and stuff like that where you can have the little alternate back around routes, which I mean, it's a little tough, though, because I feel like it's like, oh, the game's giving you the freedom to do what you want here. Well, no, because I'm going to try to get every chest, but also try to avoid every battle. So whatever path is that is the path I'm doing. Are there 2 paths? Yes. Does one of the paths have an enemy, but the other one doesn't? Okay, then take that path. Wait, but does one of the paths have a treasure chest? Okay, well then take that path.
Yeah. In a way, I guess it's both more a dungeon and less a dungeon than what we've had before, because there are no dead ends in this one, which is like the labyrinth in Rogue Galaxy, how it wasn't actually a labyrinth because there were no dead ends. So
that was a great dungeon in Rogue Galaxy, though, because it was just a big area that had a lot of different interesting traversal options. Yeah, that was a good one. This is good too. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot. So let's listen to the music that happens while we're doing it, and then we'll talk about the plot. All right, Bernard, take it away.
So when we last left our heroes, they were in a airship that disappeared, and it turns out it crashed in what looks like an abandoned subway station underneath the capital of Cocoon. Vanille says it looks like it's from Pulse. They wonder why it's here and if this is what the Pope wanted them to see. Pope points out that it seemed like the Pope wanted their focus to be fulfilled, but that's weird, and they don't understand why. And we were confused about the same thing last week, but the characters just didn't have time to express that they were also confused last week because shit was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Snow is out of it, thinking about Sarah. As the party heads into the ruins, Snow apologizes to Lightning because he was wrong about Sarah's focus. Lightning tells Snow to let his faith in Sarah drive him. It even made Lightning want to believe. As the gang makes their way into the ruins, the floor suddenly glows red. Their brains start glowing and aching. Giant pillars open and drop out pulse robots. The party fights them off. We gain the ability to develop any character in any role, except the way the Crystarium is set up, they still are very much specialized.
Yeah, it's a fucking lie. Just for context here, at this point we've been developing your Crystarium for a long time, right? And when you first start developing your Crystarium, each new ability, which to be clear, each new node is like plus 10 HP, right? Shit like that. Things like Sphere Grid style. How much do they start to start with? Like 100 for each one?
It's like 100 tops, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 100, 100, then it's like 500. And now, we're actually not there yet, but the place we're just about to get to, we're about to unlock a much larger, more advanced level of the Sphere Grid, of the Crystarium, where each node is like
8,000.
Well, not to start with, but it developed as it goes. But yeah, I believe the start is 4,000 for each, and then it
goes
to 6,
4,000,
and then it up to 8. So that's what this is, right? If you're in one of the characters is 3 out of 6. If you're in one of the 3 classes that a character can actually do, then when you're at the very top most ultimate mega stage of the Crystarium up until this point that we've developed this whole game, it's like 4,000. But if you're in an off class, the very first thing is some stupid bullshit that's like HP plus whatever, and it's like 10,000.
Yeah, of course.
Ridiculous.
Of course, the stat bonuses apply to all rolls, but it still, if you're in an off roll, it looks like it's going to take a lot of investment to get enough abilities to make it worth using.
Yeah, I'm looking right now at Lightning's, and yeah, just to get to elude as a sentinel, so like the third, like I could see 3 abilities being worth it. The one to get to elude is 18,000.
Oh my
and
gosh.
the previous 6 are 9,000, and the earliest one is 3,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's not being a sentinel ever, even if it would deck out my kid really nicely.
I can see the idea how if you really want to be a sicko, it's like, especially since we talked last week about how in this game you are unfortunately kind of locked into a party because of how expensive it is to upgrade your equipment. So if you're in one party and you're like, man, I know it's not really the best option, but it would be really nice if I could just have one of my 6 fucking paradigms where lightning is a sentinel, right, or something. Just once, So you pump in all those points just to get her a couple sentinel abilities, just because very occasionally it's nice if she is one. But even if that was the case, it costs so much. Like, I don't see myself ever doing it. Like, I don't think, like if it cost half as much as it did, it would still be a lot, but it would tempt me, right? As it stands, it's like, yeah, no, I'm using Lightning, Hope, and Vanille, and I don't know what a Sentinel is. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sentinel? What is that? Nobody's ever explained it to me.
Yeah. If like the first one was like 18,000 or something, and then you had like normal levels after that, so it's like unlocking it would be a hard thing.
If you want to actually unlock it, that would have been fun actually, but that's not how it was.
Yeah, no, it starts big, it stays big, it gets bigger. The final 2 levels of her Sentinel one are all 24,000.
Insane.
Yeah.
Which, well, okay, now that I think about it, 24,000 seemed like a lot when we first unlocked it, but now that's only 3 nodes in the highest level stage, although those nodes take fucking forever to get to. So
yeah,
it's like you're getting around, by the end of this chapter, you're getting around 1,000 per battle, so that's 24 battles.
And battles take a while.
They sure do. They sure does.
Yep. So, anyway, we're further in the ruins now, and Vanille says this place must be an ark. She says long ago the Pulse Fal'Cie were afraid of invasion and created an army of living weapons. They stored these weapons in arks and hid them all over the world. Fang says arks were also meant to train l'Cie. Lightning deduces that the Pope sent them here so that they would become stronger weapons. After a long journey through the ruins, they run into Rains. Fang asks why he's here. Lightning immediately calls him a traitor and attacks. He effortlessly disarms her. He says his focus was to put them on the path. Rains is a l'Cie. He did his best to... Yes.
And more importantly, his first name
is Sid.
I don't know if they said that earlier, but I had not noticed, so...
Yes, that I'm pretty sure in his first cutscene, he introduces himself as Sid Rains.
Well, there you go.
Reigns had done his best to assist them as ordered by the Sanctum fal'Cie. The fal'Cie have guided their every step. Their luck hasn't been luck at all. Bartandalus is crafting them into the instruments of Cocoon's demise. Saz is like, but why though? And Reigns is like, to restore the Maker, the entity who created both humans and fal'Cie. Long ago, the Maker departed this world, leaving the two races behind. Humans and fal'Cie are brothers, orphaned by the same parent. Humans forgot the order imposed by the Maker. They began to war amongst themselves for the first time in history. The fal'Cie focused on recalling the lost deity and returning the world to its former glory. This purpose lies at the heart of all their actions. The destruction of Cocoon and the lives of this world's entire populace will be the sacrifice to restore the Maker. Hope asks why the fal'Cie need them. Reigns says their existence is bound to the creation and maintenance of this floating shell. Their very nature holds them in check, just like in Dinosaurs in Pakistan. So they needed tools to destroy Cocoon. Vanille says they'll just not do it then. Reigns says, Reigns gives a vague little speech about his motivations and says he's here of his own accord, not by fal'Cie order. He will challenge his fate as a l'Cie. If he can defeat them here, the fal'Cie plan will fail. He attacks. What do y'all think of this boss fight?
Well, first of all, I just want to clarify. He's trying to murder us so that we won't do the thing that we don't want to do. He's literally like, the bad guy wants you to destroy Cocoon, and we're like, what if we just didn't? And he's like, I'm gonna kill you so you don't destroy Cocoon.
Well, I actually thought it was interesting because it's two groups of characters forced to fight, but they want the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I do on some level get it, because if he kills us, then we definitely won't destroy Cocoon. Whereas if he doesn't kill us, then it's maybe we probably won't destroy Cocoon. We said we wouldn't destroy Cocoon, but who really knows? But yeah, it's funny that, after we beat him, he's like, all right, good luck not destroying Cocoon. I had trouble with this fight. I don't recall how much trouble. It may have just been 2 attempts, but it was at least more than 1. Oh no, because he's got a fucking wombo combo. And I played way ahead this time around because I got sick last week, so I actually sick for the first time in I don't know, a decade or something. Like had a fever and everything. So I was just laid up in bed and my brain wasn't working, so I didn't have the focus or attention to do things that were more difficult than playing Final Fantasy XIII. So the point is, I don't really remember. And also, announcement, I'm no longer doing a low-level run. Because the plan actually was all along that once we got to the next chapter in the game, I would stop, because at that point in the game, it's like, hey, you have all these side quests, you can have fun grinding. And I figured, hey, the way that levels scale in this game, the way that experience scales in any game, leveling up later always takes less time than leveling up now, right? Because enemies give you more XP. So I literally was like, if I save time now, I'll bank it up, and then I'll make it up later when the game opens up. So anyway, I'm now super overloaded because of how I got sick and did a lot of side quests and grinded. Anyway, but yeah, I don't remember what I did with his wombo combo, but I remember he had the capacity to just fucking one-shot me if I wasn't being careful. Oh yeah, you just gotta stay totally buffed at all times.
Yeah, I didn't have too much trouble with him. I beat him in 1 try, but it was intense. And I love this fight because, he's also a l'Cie. I think he's the first l'Cie we fought.
Yeah, he is.
And he has roles. Depending on what you're doing, he'll completely change up the kind of stuff he does.
Yeah, it reminded me of the final, of all things, the final battle of Dark Souls 3. Where, he'll yell anime style, that he's changing to, a defensive or an offensive or a healing, I don't know if he yells it or if it literally says a text box on the screen, but he'll literally will be healing, and then he'll be healing himself. And that's the trick to beating him, because you have to realize, when he says I'm going on offense, you need to go on defense. Like, you can't, like, a lot of bosses in this game, you know, if they're attacking you, you just go on diversity, right? I'm sure you'll use that role a lot. Diversity is when you have one commando, one ravager, one healer. You just stay on diversity, right? But no, if he goes on attack mode, you legitimately need to drop what you're doing, maybe even lose your stagger combo if you have to, because he is going to annihilate you, and you have to just deal with it until he moves out of attack mode. Meanwhile, if he switches into heal mode, you're like, all right, Ravager, 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 get that fucking meter up, baby. And once you get the timing of that down, it's very, like, it's, again, this game, a lot of it, it's not about deep, like, strategy. You're not thinking about, like, spreadsheets. It's more about, like, vibe. Like, it is an intuitive, like, switching roles 5 seconds earlier or 5 seconds later is the difference between winning and losing in this game. It's just knowing that kind of intuitive when do I switch? Like you're like a coach or something, as opposed to like actively fighting. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's. I think I mentioned before that it feels like a dance when you're doing it, and it's like you're reacting to what's going on, and it's very like the vibes, like you said, of going through. And this battle was really, really good at delivering vibes. It took me like 7 tries. I don't know what it was, but I just kept fucking up. And
I maybe even had to grind a little bit. I don't remember if I did or not, but I definitely, I at least probably had to like go into the menu and craft some shit or something. Fun fact, Sam, I think you mentioned this before, but I'm mentioning it again regardless. Don't forget to upgrade those accessories. Holy moly! Yeah. Because if you upgrade your weapons, it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's amazing. Lightning is like goes from like you pour in you go from sword level 1 to sword level like 25, and it's like your attack power has literally tripled. Mm-hmm. But by upgrading your weapon, you can only raise your attack and magic. You can't raise your defense. And like, man, that accessory, what's it called? Like Royal Armlet. It's by default it's raise all defenses by 5%, and weirdly enough, it's not that much experience to level it up, and I now have it where it raises all your defenses by 13%.
Nice.
Yeah. Which didn't, like, some of them, like the HP one, the HP up one, it's like HP plus 300. If you put, like, every goddamn item you fucking have into it, it's like, okay, now instead of 300, it raises HP by 340. And I'm like, big whoop, dude, that's a waste, right? But yeah, the percentage one, that... Yeah, anyway, make sure to upgrade your equipment, folks, or your accessories, folks. Mm-hmm. Oh, one more thing, actually. Have either of y'all gotten an accessory that just raises physical defense?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember.
I may have missed it.
I think I have an accessory that raises physical defense by 10%. An accessory that raises magical defense by 10%, and then the one you mentioned that raises each by 5.
Yeah, I have like 3 that raise magic defense. I have, they're all 10%, and then I have the one that raises them both for a smaller percent, and then I have a bunch that raise like elemental defenses, but I don't have a single one that just raises physical defense, and it's like, you know, it starts off at a base of 10.
Physical defense is and magical defense are a combo move. So look, for me, if I equip a silver bangle and a shield talisman, I get the HP 180 from the silver bangle and auto protect from the shield talisman, and then as a combo, I get physical wall 5 defense points.
Okay, we could do that. But anyway, but also, if there's an accessory that just raises your magical defense, you would assume there is also one for physical. And the reason I say is just because it's not that I can't find other ways to do it. It's just like, you know, from a pure economic standpoint, if I'm fighting a boss that only does physical attacks, it's going to make more economic sense for me to pour all my points into the physical defense item than the physical and magical defense item that costs more. Right. Yeah. Since I don't need the magical defense. Anyway, just thought I'd ask, so I could see if I'd missed it or something. All right, I'll go. Maybe I'll look at the shop, see if they're selling it.
Yeah.
So the party defeats Reigns. With his last breath, he tells them to do what they know is right and trust themselves. And he turns into a crystal? Question mark? Saz is like, did he complete his focus? Snow doesn't think so. All Reigns was trying to do was save Cocoon in his own way. Snow storms off. Reigns' crystal starts glowing. It disappears.
So that happened.
Yes. The gang continues through the ruins for a long time.
Yeah.
Also, I want to mention the irony here. The entire point of this ruins, as explained in the dialogue, is to train LaCie. And it's like, yeah, if you really want to go save the world after these big plot revelations, if you really, really want to go and actually do the real thing instead of just what you thought was the real thing, but like actually, like, you know, the real FF13 starts here, you know, real big, be a hero time. We're going to really need to train up. And I'm like, that's cool, man. Run past every single battle.
So yeah, you might have thought because we just fought a huge traumatic boss that it's the end of the dungeon, but no. We continue through the ruins for a long time. Then, sort of out of nowhere, Snow gives a hero speech. I sort of get the impression he just has to do this every so often.
And everyone kind of is like, good for him.
Yeah. You're valid, Snow. He says that even if it means becoming a Seath, he'll make Sarah proud. It isn't the fal'Cie they should listen to. It's Sarah and Reigns. Their focus doesn't matter. What matters is that they protect Cocoon. Everyone agrees. Except Fang. She's like, fuck Cocoon. Let them get what's coming. Cocoon hates them for being LaCie, so what if they die? Better that than watch a friend go Seath. She says she'll smash Cocoon out of the sky. She says she won't let it end with Vanille becoming a Seath. Her brand glows. An Eidolon appears. Fang seems to recognize it. Fang says Eidolons supposedly help LaCie and are their salvation. If they can't decide what to do next, Eidolons come to put them out of their mercy. The gang protects Fang from the Eidolons' attacks. Fang asks why. Lightning says they're protecting one of their own. They can do without that brand of mercy. And they don't need a fal'Cie's orders either. They're fighting this focus to the end. So please, fight with us. Fang and gang fight Bahamut. It goes pretty smoothly for me.
It actually took me many tries, although I was being a little dumb. But also, Fang is not in my main party, so she didn't have very good equipment and shit. I had to spin some juice on her a little bit. But I don't totally remember, but I think I just kind of like didn't like get it as far as her battle was concerned. I was like being dumb, and then I stopped being dumb, and it was fine.
I think this was the first Eidolon I did not struggle a lot with.
Yeah, I don't know what stars have to align to make this true, but the guy had said this is the easiest one in the game. Just do this and do that, and I was doing this and I was doing that, and I was getting nowhere close to winning, and it took me 8 or 9 tries, and in the end, when I got it, I had like both my party members were dead, and I had like 3 HP left, and I knew I was like close. So instead of trying to heal, I like did one more turn to try and like mash square as Bahamut was coming to kill me. It was very, very, very hard for me.
Yeah, for mine, the issue was definitely not the time limit, but was just getting owned. So once that's the other thing is I have a party that doesn't have Sentinel, right? So once I kind of remembered what the fuck you're supposed to do with Sentinel, which I still don't totally get, frankly. But once I started to get more of the hang of what the heck a Sentinel is, then it wasn't too hard.
Yeah, Sentinel is a good role, but I don't use it in my main party.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not getting it. Maybe my brain's too small. But it seems to me like what it's supposed to do doesn't seem to work with the way the game's AI actually works. Like, I find a lot of the time what the Sentinel will do will not align with what needed to happen or with what the enemy did. And that includes when I am being the Sentinel. Like, you, for example, if an enemy is about to do a really strong attack, you want to switch Sentinel real fast and tank it, right? But it takes too long to switch to Sentinel and then cast Provoke to actually get the enemy's aggro and then guard. So you don't have time to do that, and you don't keep aggro when you switch out of Sentinel. So it's like, should you have just already been Sentinel? For me, Sentinel is pretty much just like the enemy's going really hard right now in general. It's just like a more advanced version of healing. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes if an enemy's going ham, you want to switch to, like, Commando heal, or even heal. Well, if you switch to Sentinel heal, that's even better. Because then only one guy's getting hurt, and then you're healing them. Like, so for me, it's really not a defensive thing, or it's not about defense, it's more just about recovery. It's just, I switch to Sentinel if I got super owned and want to heal without dying. So that's pretty much the only real consistent use I've found for it, but I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Yeah. I found that sometimes I would be using my Sentinel, and they would provoke the enemy, and the enemy would be like, oh, I'll attack the Sentinel with my area of effect attack.
Yeah,
and everyone's standing together, and you can't manually move them.
Yeah.
But anyway, after fighting Bahamut, the gang finds a Pulse airship and some sort of magic gate to Gran Pulse. They agree to head through the gate. They arrive in Gran Pulse, and their airship crashes. Vanille and everyone almost die. Hope mainly almost dies. I don't know why I singled out Vanille. Vanille voiceovers that it's a place ruled by the brutal struggle for survival and the callous and uncaring whim of the fal'Cie. We see all sorts of ruins and weird critters across the surface of Gran Pulse. Vanille muses that the Maker created the fal'Cie, and the fal'Cie, in their desperation to be reunited with the Maker, created l'Cie. What will the l'Cie end up creating?
Probably problems.
Yes. The gang searches for other people, but just finds wildlife and ruins. They reunite, except for Hope, who's off gathering supplies by himself, which is safe. Chocobo comes up and does the lassie thing at them, and they realize Hope is in trouble. They head off to find him. After some hallways outside, they find him unconscious and bring him back to camp. Snow's getting antsy about them being stranded and not having any clue what to do. Vanille says there is one place, ... Hope wakes up and says, Erba, the place it all began, the place where the Pulse fal'Cie lay dreaming. Vanille and Fang's home. Maybe it'll be the place where they find the answers they're looking for. And I'm like, how do you know that?
Also, why didn't you go there first? I don't know, just seems like a normal thing to do. Just go there, like, hey, yeah, everyone's dead, but if I went back to my home country after a billion years and also was on a quest for something and had no leads, I'd be like, I don't know, see what's going on in the capital city where I used to live. If nothing else, it'll be a nice time to do some remembering.
Yeah, I kind
Instead of going around randomly in the wilderness.
I kind of got the impression that Vanille and Fang had some reason to not want to go there, but I don't think that was ever explicit, so I think I was just reading that into it.
No, I kind of did that too, but they don't really explain what it is, and also now they're chill with it. So I will say I felt the cutscenes here got kind of just weird. Because the game, I feel like this is supposed to be like a front and back half of the game kind of thing. I think this is supposed to be the entire back half of the game. It's like, the front half is this linear series of exciting adventures. We get to what is very obviously the, like, Disc 1 final boss, right? Which is Bal to Tantalus. Or Tantalus, yeah. And then after that, it's like, we're going to go save the day. Oh no, now there's some twists. Well, now what do we do? And now there's sort of this back half where first we got to go train and do a bit of soul searching, and then we finally go down to Pulse, kind of like in Tales of Symphonia, right? Where we finally go to the other world and continue our adventure. But they probably had to cut stuff or something, because what is supposed to be, and then they go on a big adventure throughout Gran Pulse, is like it shows them crashing and then it cuts. And I am now looking at the data log to make sure that I'm right here. And it turns out that plot wise, the Lassie scour Gran Pulse for some way to overcome their focus. But even after days of searching the bleak terrain, they discover nothing. And there's this whole scene where it's like they're giving up, right? But it's like we didn't see them searching. We saw them crash, and then it cuts to days later, and they're like, man, we've been looking for days, and there's nothing, and we're all out of hope, man. We were so excited, now we're out of hope. And it's very strange to me. Also, just in case you're curious, slight spoiler, the quote grand adventure on Gran Pulse is like you go to 3 locations, and then you go back up then you're going back up, buddy. It's almost like this is the last 3 hours of what was supposed to be like a 6-hour long sequence or something. I don't know. It's odd, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for example, it says, as time passes and their fruitless expedition drags on, the Lassie slowly come to frustration and despair, their most dangerous enemies. So it's like, yeah, frustration and despair slowly succumbing, dragging on, buddy. It's been 2 days. It's not, I feel like y'all are taking the whole hero thing that seriously.
Speaking of cutscenes getting a little weird, Hope suddenly has a whole thing going on that wasn't there before. Hope
in fact, it directly contradicts his earlier big speech about how we all gotta believe in ourselves.
Yeah, Hope tells them to go on without him. They say no. He's not going to go through this alone. He admits he's scared of his friends getting hurt because of him. He says it'd be better for everyone if he just stayed behind. The reason he suddenly has this bit of character development is so that his Eidolon can appear.
Yes. Yeah.
They fight the Eidolon Alexander. After the fight, Hope muses that maybe Eidolons appear to snap them out of their slumps. Vanille says they're all family. Sappy music plays.
Speaking of easy Eidolon fights, though, Alexander was incredibly easy because he gets staggered if you heal, and so if you do heal Sentinel, you win. So just do that.
Yeah,
Alexander is also fairly easy
because most Eidolons are supposed to test your knowledge of that character. So since one of Hope's big things is being a healer, although I think Vanille's a better healer personally, but that's just my experience. Hope's thing is being a healer, so yeah, if you heal, it raises his special meter, and once you realize that, you're like, oh. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole setting people out of their slump thing, I actually kind of get, because it's like, okay, is this totally incongruous with his previous arc? Yes. But if you keep in mind the idea that they've been searching for literal days, let's just pretend like the days is months, because it makes more sense. Yeah. Oh, okay. Hope did go through an arc. He's fine. But now that they've been so frustrated and demoralized and disillusioned because of their fruitless search, he's in a slump. He's having a rough one. Everyone's got a rough one sometimes, and his Eidolon is showing up now. Now, I feel like there were a lot of earlier times the Eidolon should have showed up during his actual arc that would have made more sense, but maybe it was on vacation.
Yeah, I feel like maybe story-wise it was supposed to happen earlier, and then content-wise it was pushed to later, because he definitely had way more slumps in the Gapper Whitewood, but...
Yeah, game mechanically maybe it just needed to happen now for some reason.
Yeah, and Snow even says immediately after the fight, and it's like, oh, I guess it's there to take you out of your slump, and he's like you had just now, as in... This was weird for you, but whatever. We got a new Eidolon, so we're fine.
Yeah, it's like Saz. Eidolon appears when his literal son turns into a crystal. He's lost everything and also tries to shoot himself, and also he's been betrayed by Vanille and tries to shoot her. Eidolon appears because of this moment of intense emotional extreme. Hope wakes up on the wrong side of the bed and is having a little bit of a grumpy day. Eidolon appears.
Yeah.
Being a little bitch for no reason.
But Alexander just swoops down from wherever it is these Eidolons keep swooping down from, and is just like, cut it out, dude.
Dude,
that's all I need.
I'm not even gonna fight you.
Just
stop being such a little bitch. Just heal yourself a bunch. It's fine. We're not even doing a real battle, man. It's whatever. It's just a formality at this point.
Yeah. So after that weird scene, the gang heads out into the wilderness. They find a weird floating stone, which Fang identifies as a Seath in its last stage. Seath wander the wilds, but eventually lose their will to go on and turn to stone. However, even in this state, they can't forget their focus. They call out to Lassie to complete their focus. Snow suggests they help this one out. This game has side quests now.
Yeah, and also an enormous open zone that you get to explore. It's really pretty, although as I believe me and Bernard discussed when we first played this game, boy, that map sure doesn't tell you what direction north is, does it?
No,
yeah,
it's
it
not.
rotates and does not indicate north.
Yeah.
Rotating minimaps are only good if they are also a compass. Like, I prefer rotating minimaps because I'm like, oh, it gives me a compass, and I know I need to go northeast. I just line it up to be northeast, and I go on my merry way. But
I'm often still rotating minimap if you can then press the button to open up the real map and it's no longer rotating. But in this case, it does. It rotates. So not just not knowing where north is, but like sometimes I would legitimately just like want to backtrack where it was earlier, and because I'm now facing a new direction, I'm like, I have no idea which of these paths is which one. The geography is not lining up for me. Yeah, the level design really falls on its ass at this part of the game, but luckily there's not too much it needs to do level design wise. It mostly just has to be there and you run around, so it's not a huge deal really. But yeah, you can do all these side quests and stuff and get lots of levels. Some of the mobs give you a bunch of XP. Those ones that look like flans, those give you a bunch of XP. Yeah. Whereas the ones that are like little tigers don't give you that much XP, and I avoid them. And wow, yeah, you can get all the fuck Crystariumed up.
Yeah, and if you are doing these and you see anything that is not a flan and is not a tiger, don't fucking fight it. It's an in-game mob. It will fuck your shit up.
I was handling the behemoths pretty well.
I was
one-shot me.
Well, here's the thing. You can get the behemoth if you can sneak up on them, because if you can sneak up on them, obviously it puts them in, almost staggered mode. Now, you won't be able to kill... It's actually... I feel really smart figuring this out. You still can't quite kill them in one stagger. If you hit them, you'll get them down to like a third health, and then they'll get out of stagger. And then the worst part about behemoths is they have two different phases.
And they're
if your battle goes on long enough, they stand up on two legs and summon a giant sword out of nowhere and become way stronger and then murder you. So you gotta kill them before they do that. So here's what I figured out. First, you sneak up on them. Then you make sure that you start the battle in, for me, it was in the mode that was, Commando Saboteur Synergist. And you just... Even though it's like 5% away from stagger, if you stay on commando, you won't stagger it because you're not raising it at all, basically, because it's so tough. And you just commando hit it while it's right on the edge of being staggered, while buffing the hell out of yourself, and more importantly, debuffing it. And as soon as you hit it with that de-protect, which lowers its physical defense, then you switch and you stagger it, and then you can kill it in one go.
Clever.
Once I figured that out, I went and killed a bunch of them, actually, and it was really fun. And I got a lot of XP.
I had one battle where I was just running along, and some of those tiger things ran up and ran into me, and I was like, okay, I'll fight the fucking tigers. But it turns out within like the range of enemies they fight was an adamantoise.
Oops! I have not fought one of those yet because they're like literally the size of a building.
Yeah,
I've played
and the entire
Chronicles.
party dies.
And I've played Final Fantasy 15. Remember Final Fantasy 15 where one of the side quests is like, hey, hold on, wait. The Virgin Elder Scrolls the Virgin Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. You see that mountain over there? You can go to it. Versus the Chad FF15. You see that mountain over there? You can kill it.
I love the Adamantoise fight in Final Fantasy 15. It's ridiculous.
It goes on for like literally 2 hours and is kind of
terrible,
nightmarishly boring. But like you're literally murdering a turtle head of a mountain. Of course, it takes 2 hours and is nightmarishly boring.
Yeah, it's terrible, and I love it.
It's one of the highlights of the game. Again, especially because that mountain has literally been there the whole game, and you thought it was just part of the scenery. That's the magic of the PlayStation 4 video game console. This game only being PlayStation 3 video game console does not allow you to fight a monster the size of a mountain, but rather a monster the size of let's say a monster the size of a large high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're fighting Wayside School up in this bitch. Do y'all not know Wayside School?
No.
What? It's a series of children's books.
I knew the children's books, but I was like, surely she's not talking about the children's books.
No, the children's books, Wayside School. It's a children's school where the architect fucked up, and instead of building a school that had 50 rooms located next to each other like a rectangle, they instead built a school that was 30 stories high, and each story was one classroom. So it's a giant school. It's a school that's a giant tower. Bernard, no, not familiar.
Oh,
it was like one of those things where when you're a kid and you don't know what like art is, if you ever experience like it's like surrealism or like experimental literature for children, and it like blows your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah, no, not familiar.
Anyway, yeah, don't fight that thing; it'll kill your ass.
Yeah.
But that's it for this week.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
So let's listen to some song from the soundtrack, and then we'll talk about our memorable moments.
To some music.
God damn it. Okay, Maddie, how was then their data logs this time around?
So I didn't read the ones on the quote events because I ran out of time because it was so much, and I literally fell asleep while reading them because I didn't get into sleep this week. But I read everything else and I learned some cool stuff. So some cool and some funny. I like this one. When you're in the big zone, there's one called in gameplay basics called yellow indicators. Listen to this text. It's just written very strangely. You will find swirling yellow indicators on the ground in the Archeite steppe that appear in no other locations on Gran Pulse or Cocoon. These marks indicate jump points, where a creature with enough leg strength just might be able to leap to a distant destination. Which is a really dumb way of saying, walk into this thing if you want to jump.
I think it means you need a chocobo to jump that.
Oh, I thought it was just referring to myself, and I hadn't seen any yet. Okay. That's a little bit less dumb. A creature with enough leg strength. Although, have they seen the battle system of this game? We clearly have leg strength. Lightning jumps, turn 20 feet into the air multiple times per battle. Whatever. Anyway, why did I click this one? Oh yeah. So if you read, you can read more information about the characters. And if you read Hopes, it's a little expanded, and it says, I'll skip the part we already knew, but then it says, he mends his relationship with his father and sets off on a journey to discover a way to escape his destiny as a lessee. And I'm like, did he? And then later, if you look at Bartholomew, it says Bartholomew is Hope's father, but has difficulties relating to his teenage son. Though deeply upset by his wife's death, he sees how much Hope has grown during the subsequent events and encourages him to find his own path and make his own decisions. Now he's currently being protected from the Sanctum by the cavalry. And I didn't screenshot it, but if you look at Nora's, Hope's mom's as well, it's like Nora was concerned about the growing distance between her son and her husband. But I like how if you put all the, like, if you just read Hope's, it's like he mends his relationship with his father. It's like, wait, but all of us comment on the fact that like the father seems pretty chill and the relationship seems pretty fine. But if you put them all together, it's like, oh no, our intuition was correct. Like, there's not some big dramatic anime father-son problem, capital P problem, like he, didn't show up to his son's baseball game and now his son has been captured by Captain Hook. It's like, no, like he's just a moody teen and his dad doesn't know how to relate to him. He says, hey, you want to toss the old pigskin? And he goes, no, Dad, you don't understand me. And like, that's it. That's all that was the relationship conflict. Yeah. It was just that shit.
I love.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny. It's just, the game suggests that there's something more though, so it's very strange, but now that all of dust has settled, it's actually quite cute. Anyway, also, fun fact is that, is it Rains? Am I getting my characters mixed up? Oh, god damn it. I think it's Rains. Rains and the super, super hot glasses lady were in the same class at school.
That's cute.
Yeah. And in addition, we learn a little more. The game is a little cagey about this, but like, so what's his name? Dodge got laceed on like day 3 or 5 or some shit, and then later on day like 11 we see that everyone is together in bottom watching like the fireworks or whatever, and what's her name, Jill, the glasses lady, is there. Turns out that in the last week, those 8 days in between days 3 and 11, yeah, it is 3 and 11 because it's 8 days, like after he got laceed, they like took him into their custody and were doing like science experiments on him. But they didn't like kidnap him. It was like, I mean, I guess they did, but Saz was there the whole time. So it was like, hey Saz, we are taking your son, but like you and your son both are going to live here in this governmental science facility while we do experiments on your kid. So apparently during that time, Saz and Jill like became friends. So that's something that we don't really know. Yeah. Maybe friend is a strong phrase, but let's see. Yeah, he says, as the supervisor in charge of Dodge's testing, she grew close to his father, Saz. However, her kindness was simply a ruse to gain access to the boy's Lucy ability to raise Pulse entities. And then, yeah, it says, another thing, the Chocobo chick. Turns out Saz bought the Chocobo chick. Oh my gosh, okay. I'm just going to read it. Saz purchased this Chocobo chick at a stall in Iriday Gorge for his son, Dodge. However, while his attention was on the transaction, Dodge ran into the energy plant and headlong into the incident that changed him into a Sanctum Lessee.
Oh.
Literally the inciting incident of this entire game was that Dodge really wanted a Chocobo chick, and Saz said, okay, I'll go buy one. And while he was distracted, the kid fucking ran off. So basically none of this would have happened if Saz was a slightly worse dad.
as
a better dad, it has said no to his son.
As a parent of a young child, if you give them the opportunity to run headlong into a government facility and turn into a enemy agent, they will do that. They will 100% do that.
Yeah, so the Chocobo chick was behind this all along.
Also,
anyway,
I like the implication that Dodge was so excited about this Chocobo chick, but then like in the 15 seconds it took for Sauce to say okay and start the transaction, he forgot about it and went to do something else. He's a little kid.
Absolutely.
Fucking kid. Yeah, you know what? Okay, how many of these games' critical plot points are hinged on like literally the most basic of all human failings is pretty cute. Yeah. Again, wish it wasn't in the data log. Now this does say, though boy and chick have met only once during the brief visit Saz was allowed by SciComm in Bottom, they became fast friends. So, oh, at first I was confused. I was like, wait, but earlier it said that they had this week-long testing. Then it says he only had a brief visit. Now I'm realizing, no, brief visits was allowed by SciComm in Bottom. So that was like, okay, we've been testing this kid for a week. Y'all can take a little, y'all can take a little trip to Bottom and then, but be back in the lab tomorrow, right?
Yeah, in the cutscene with the fireworks and everything, Dodge was free to move around the country. So
that's right.
But then the bot did show up at the end of that cutscene because they were still keeping an eye on them.
Yep. Yeah. But now listen to this. Again, a lot of interesting information in the 13 days section. Dodge suddenly decided that he wanted to go to Bottom. Realizing that this may be an effect of the boy's new power to detect pulse beings, Colonel the Bot permitted a SciComm supervised excursion to the coastal town. So basically, they got Dodge up in the facility, and they're like, we think that this kid's ability is that he can sense pulse fal'C. And then the kid is like, all of a sudden like, hey Dad, can we go to Bottom? And being a stupid kid, because they say stupid shit like that all the time, Sas was just like, oh, I guess my kid randomly wants to go to Bottom now. Yesterday he wanted a Chocobo chick. Tomorrow he's going to want to buy a piano, and then he'll forget about the piano after I buy it. Today he wants to go to Bottom, whatever. But Nabat is like, oh, the fact that he just randomly wants to go to Bottom is actually because he can secretly sense there's a fal'C there. So we'll let him have a day trip, which is very, very clever.
That's good shit.
Yeah. A lot going on there. Let's see. Are people or Sarah being turned into a? Oh no, not Sarah. Sorry, Dodge being turned into a cocoon lassie is the first time that's happened since the War of Transgression.
Oh, really?
Yep. It says since that time, the War of Transgression, where lots of Pulse people were turned into lassie to fight as warriors, there is no record of a cocoon fal'C taking a human as a lassie.
From the reactions and stuff, I got the impression it was rare, but I didn't realize it had never happened.
Yeah, it has literally never happened before, or at least not. It says actually there could be unrecorded cases of it, but as far as everyone knows, it's never happened before. Fun fact, Chocobos are actually from wait, that's not true. I misread that. Anyway, Chocobo chicks, again, very human interactions. The reason Dodge wants a Chocobo chick isn't just because he's a random kid who wants random things for no reason. Also not because he's like the Final Fantasy equivalent of a horse girl. A Chocobo boy, right? No.
A Chocoboy.
Turns out, read this, wild Chocobos are almost unheard of on Cocoon. But thanks to the antics of a certain TV program's feathery main character, owning Chocobo chicks has become the latest fad among children. Although the tiny chicks are easy to handle when young, their rapid growth as they approach adulthood has forced an increasing number of families to donate their oversized avian pets to zoos and farms. So, Dodge, like every other kid, literally just got really into Paw Patrol and now wants a dog because of the fucking TV show or the YouTube or whatever. He's just like, the Dodge is just a completely normal kid, like wanting a Chocobo chick is just the same thing every other kid's doing because it's a fad because of TV.
So good.
Poor Saz. Poor Saz.
He does his best.
He's literally walking around with a Furby now because the Furby attached to him and his kid just wanted a fucking Furby.
Also, I will say, while I was doing some side quests, I ran into some cutscenes that I'm not actually sure if they were. I think they may have been optional, or maybe not. I don't really know. The game is a little weird about where it tells you to go, because I thought I was very, very clearly avoiding going to the go here marker, and yet I again, not going to the go here marker, going in the opposite direction, managed to trigger a cutscene. And then after the cutscene, the go here marker said to go to a different place. So I was just like, did I just advance the plot on accident? Did I actually trigger the next cutscene? Did I skip a cutscene? So anyway, if this is actually a required cutscene for next week, then I won't say it. Then I apologize. But there's a cutscene where they see a big flying thingy, a giant flying worm in the air, and it's flying off in a direction. And they're like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" And someone's like, "Oh, it's a Pulse File C. Oh, it's flying off towards Erba." And then they have the idea that they should go to Erba. And I'm like, wait, but you already had the idea to go to Erba in the previous cutscene. But now they're going to Erba to follow this File C? It's weird. But the reason I mention that is A, maybe it's optional, we won't see it next week. And secondly, there's a data log entry about it. This File C soars through the sky with an ease that seems almost uncanny. Anyway, basically, just like Cocoon, most Gran Pulse File C are in charge of making the world run, terraforming, modifying the environment, doing water, plants. But the Haka, the big flying worm one, does nothing of the sort. And then the data log goes on to be like, yeah, no one really knows what it does. It just kind of flies around. I don't know, man. And here's the god of lightning. Here's the god of crops and fertility. Here's the god of love and passion. Here's the god of gestures vaguely. I don't know, man. It's big. It flies around. What more do you want from me?
Be a god that's just big and flies around.
It's just big. What more do you want from me, man? That's it. And then one more final thing, which is, I guess, is more of a memo I want to mention, is how funny it is that they make it out that Lassie is this super, super big deal, and that, what's your focus? Oh, my focus is to destroy the world. Oh, my focus is to bring together these great heroes. Oh, my focus is to detect other File C. But then you get to side quest zone, and this guy's like, oh man, my fucking focus was to collect 3 wolf pelts, man, and I didn't manage to complete it. And you gotta complete my focus, dude. It was to get 5 gooey gumdrops. What? Damn, they're really turning people into Lassie for no fucking reason up in here.
Yeah, I found that really funny as well. I just gotta kill this one random monster for no particular reason, but it's real strong.
Well, guess I'll turn into a thief forever now. And I'm like, that's your focus? That's it? Bitch, if that was my focus, we wouldn't be in this situation. I would have been done by now.
Yeah, I'd
be chilling as a crystal right now.
I love that.
Why does everybody else get all the chill focuses?
It's you have to do your focus, and when you complete your focus, you will turn into a crystal. And if you don't, you will turn into a crystal that then bitches about not having enough gooey gumdrops.
That's the other thing, because we saw at the second dungeon, the second chapter of the game, that if you don't turn into a crystal, you turn into a Seath, and a Seath is literally a zombie. We kill them in random battles. But here it's no, this is a Seath crystal. Maybe you turn into a crystal for a while,
stone,
and then eventually that stone turns into a zombie.
It says it takes a while. This is the final form.
It's just weird.
It turns into a zombie, then it turns into a stone eventually.
I just feel like if you've already got a human, Like, okay, so like 2 arms, 2 legs, the works. A head, like internal organ systems that allow it to function. Like, going from human to zombie seems pretty easy. But if you're going from human to giant rock and then to zombie, it just seems like the whole system could be working more efficiently, is all I'm saying.
No, but you're going from human to zombie to giant rock.
I don't think so, because when you kill the zombies, they're just dead.
The Fang says the sea stones are Seath in their final stages.
I thought that meant like final stage before finally becoming a Seath, but so maybe if you don't kill the zombie, eventually it turns into a big rock?
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Giant rock. Anyway, I think that they just had to make everything in the game crystal themed. And needed some way to have side quests. And they needed some way to have side quests, but also didn't want there to be any actual other characters. So they made this up, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got.
I don't have anything in particular besides it was a good week. I really liked the subway dungeon that then turned into other shit, and then I like walking around and doing stuff. So the camera and movement has been bad the whole game, but it hasn't been a problem how bad they are. But now in the open world, it is officially a hot garbage to control this entire game.
I find that the movement and camera aren't as bad when you're in a big open environment, but they still are bad. And the fact is now you need them more, so it is more of a problem, even if they're not as bad.
Yeah, it doesn't like send your camera into a wall type thing as much as it did before, because there are no walls, but like orienting yourself so you can see the monster that you're looking for just doesn't happen.
Yeah, luckily the minimap is none of this is very complicated. The Seath all give you actual like directions and what do you call it? What's the word for like a actual thing like a mountain or a lake that you use to guide by? Landmarks, yeah. They all give you like landmarks, so they'll be like, oh, I gotta kill the turtle over by the lake, or the thing over to the west, which would be impossibly unhelpful, but also the mini map just gives you a star, so you just go where there's a star.
Go to the star
on the mini map. It's pretty easy. Anyway, I did side quests 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, they're starting to get a little tough. I actually skipped 5. I couldn't find it for a while. Also, some of them, once you beat them, do unlock fast travel, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a few. And then I accidentally triggered a cutscene and I paused.
Yep. Have y'all fully filled out one of your super high level Crystariums yet?
No, I just got there.
I've been focusing on because everyone would have like one that has their ATB bonus in it and one that has their accessory in it. So I've been focusing on I fill out one until I get to ATB bonus, then I go to the other and fill it out till I get accessory.
You know what? That's actually smart. What I did was I got every character in my party up to the part right as you're about to enter that high level, but haven't yet. So like you filled everything up to it. And I made sure to go backtrack and dig around to see if I skipped anything. So every character is at that exact point, and then for each character, I just picked one. I was just like, whichever role is the one that I think is best for them. So for Lightning, I'm doing Commando. For Hope, I'm doing Ravager, and for Renil, I'm doing Healer. And I'm just gonna go all the way till it's done. I'm not getting. Here's what I'm doing. I'm making a beeline for the role level bonus at the center. I'm taking detours for abilities, but I'm not taking detours for stat upgrades.
Yeah.
So if it's like, oh, take a detour for a whole bunch more HP, it's like, well, whatever. But it's like, oh, take a detour for like Curaja. I'm like, okay, well, duh, I'm gonna fucking get Curaja, right? So lightning is probably like 2 or 3 battles away from getting to her max roll level, which is really dope. Because those roll bonuses ain't nothing at all. They're real good, actually. They're important. Hope is the most behind because he had to keep making detours in order to get like Firaga and shit like that. And then Vanille is getting pretty close as well. It's neat.
Yeah. What about you, Bernard? Do you have any more memorable moments to bring up?
Nothing that we haven't already covered. Although I suppose I already mentioned this, but I did like how the game constructed a scenario where there was a battle between 2 groups who want the same exact thing, and it makes sense.
Makes more sense than it does in Captain America Civil War, that's for sure.
Yeah. But
yeah, I don't have anything else.
Yeah. So thank you to everyone who follows us and supports us on Ko-Fi. These episodes would not exist without you. So if you would like to donate and help us unlock lightning returns, let me see how far we are away from lightning returns, actually. I don't remember. I don't think we're very close. Because we just opened it. But never mind. We are 7% of the way to unlocking lightning returns.
Damn,
so if you want to make us be 2 games behind on this, we can just power straight on through them. Head on over to www.rpgbook.club.
We're probably going to be taking a break. It's just throwing that out there. I might be insisting on that. But anyway, but not too long of one.
Yeah. So if you want to help us unlock those, you can do so at www.rpgbook.club. And once you donate to unlock those, you also will get access to Book Club no Kaseki, where me, Bernard, and Matt are slowly making our way through the Kaseki 13ology. And those come out bi-weekly. And if you donate on the Ko-Fi, you get access to them a month before everybody else. Yeah, I think that's it for
we
our
wanted them to be weekly, but we very quickly found that doing
hard.
so much podcast when you're not a McElroy and it's not your job is hard.
Very hard.
Sure is. Oh, speaking of that, though, I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks notice at my first, I suppose, job on Monday.
Nice.
I've been looking forward to this for ages, and I realize I should have done it a week ago, actually, because it's not really a 2 week notice. I mean, basically my other job at UPS might be I thought it was going to be ramping up a lot in mid-November, but it actually might be ramping up a whole lot on Monday. So I need to get out the door of my other job ASAP.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for listening for RPG Book Club Longcast. I've been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
And I'm Magic Grace Weapon.
In lieu of a Halloween episode, happy Halloween, everybody.
Oh yeah, happy Halloween, everybody. Goodbye. Some good data log stuff this time around.
Awesome. That's good because the notes for this week aren't very long.
Yeah. So a lot of playing and not a lot of cutscenes, which is not usually how this game goes.
The art is big.
Yeah, fifth arc goes on for a long time.
The arc.
Especially when they very clearly are like, this is the boss. Keep playing for 2 more hours, though.
Yeah.
Hope you like that boss. Was there like an actual real boss at the end of the chapter, or was that really it?
At the end of the chapter, you do Fang's summon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the actual boss of the chapter. Okay. Gotcha.
His summon is pretty easy, though.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I totally thought we were done with the arc when Range showed up, but no.
Because again, this game is actually structured like an action game where each chapter is literally a level and there's a boss battle at the end, which is cool. Honestly, obviously we talk about how FF7 develops and FF13 in so many ways, and in a way, like, yeah, but also FF7 is, a remake of another game and does follow that game's plot and structure in a lot of ways. I would love a game that is very more, well, maybe, well, no, I've heard FF13 2 and 3 are not this. I would love a game that is more of a successor to this game, where it really is just like, no, like each chapter of the game is levels, and you go through battles and have a boss, and except maybe it's action based and better. I guess I'm talking about the last story.
Paper Mario Sticker Star.
Oh, I have. I talk about it all the time. That's a great game.
Yeah. Sticker Star is what if RPG was levels, and
that's true. That's a great game. Although it should have. No, I mean, I love Sticker Star. I will defend Sticker Star. Fuck the haters. But it would be nice to add a better plot.
Yeah.
Instead of the plot just being, there.
Which I heard Color Splash is Sticker Star with a better plot, but I haven't played it myself yet.
Yeah. I can never trust the fans, because the fans are all like, oh, Color Splash is so stupid. Oh, Origami King is so dumb. But all those people also think Sticker Star is bad. And that game rules. So I can't trust anybody.
Yeah,
everyone just wants Thousand Year Door again, but Nintendo doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, it's like, buddy, they already made Thousand Year Door. Like, I don't know, man. I love the people who are just like frothing his mouth for another turn-based JRPG. It's like, buddy, we've got lots of them.
Yeah. Even in the Mario milieu,
there's so many of them. They're all real good, and they're making more of them every day. It's fine. Just don't worry about it, man.
Well, I don't know if they're making any more of them because they shuttered Alpha Dream, so we might not actually have any more
RPGs.
Oh, true.
What? Oh, so you're saying you don't just want an RPG, you don't just want Mario game, you want an RPG that is also a Mario game. You know what, man? Grow up. Get some perspective.